Ladies and gentlemen, Egyptian Gardens proudly presents beautiful Oriental dancer Jada. Ladies and gentlemen, the Egyptian Gardens proudly presents beautiful Oriental dancer, Serena.
inspirations for costuming, and even for the dance itself, were the Orientalists at the early period of like the 1800s. I have one painting on my wall that was done by a French painter in 1870, and it's of a veiled woman with this incredibly jeweled bra. I want to present now Orientalist paintings come to life. Najma's going to come out first. We're going to have a beautiful costume. I fashioned these costumes out of various bits and pieces, and to me there is nothing more feminine, more beautiful than the whole concept of Orientalism. One great artist, Leon Bakst, designed the costumes and sets for the ballet Russe, and they presented Cleopatra, Salome, Scheherazade, all these incredible dances and operas, and he fashioned costumes be a museum of Oriental dance, and certainly a museum showing the costuming. Even the song sheets from that period. We have song sheets like In My Harem and Harem Eyes, and all of these things from like 1910, 1905, with incredible designs on the covers. I have lamps, old harem lamps. I have incense burners, even candy dishes that show dancers in Oriental costume on them, in various metals. So, keep in touch with me so you can find out when our museum is going to open. And here now is Jada, also in one of my creations. Again, some of the materials are from India. Some might be from Egypt. I have a costume maker in Cairo that I get many things from. But they're very fanciful, and they're purely from the imagination. And now I want to continue in the Orientalist mode. a little bit about our next dancer and also answer any questions that you may have, except my age. Anything anybody would like to know? Yes?
How did you get started with Orientalist?
Well, tell you, I will talk about that before the next dance piece, because I'll be talking more about my family then. But that's a wonderful question, and if I forget, remind me. Any other questions? One interesting thing. Yes.
I had a question. I thought it was fascinating that you could take beginners in any class. How could you do that?
Well, we have a basic beginner class. They can't go into an advanced class. A beginner has to go into the class that of the level that that person belongs in. Basic beginner is for people who have absolutely no dance training whatsoever. And many of the dancers that you see here started with basic beginner some years back. A lot of people ask me how long it takes for someone to learn this dance. That's an impossible question to answer. It could take 2 years, it could take 3, it could take a year and a half. It's just a very difficult thing to answer. Question. Any other questions? Yes?
In India, they used to have the Nautch girls. Is that related to this kind of dancing at all?
I am totally not an ethnic purist. I'm an American woman who is doing a dance purely from my years of experience, say, in looking at artwork or studying this dance and that dance. I don't know any of the real historic origins of most of the dances, and I don't really care that much because I am like an Orientalist. I take the dance and it goes through my mind and my imagination and my creativity. I've been all over the Middle East, and I don't dance like them. They don't dance like me. They don't dance like each other. When I was in Upper Egypt in Luxor, I danced with the Gawazis, and they were a lot of fun. But I would never book a woman who's missing teeth and has one gold tooth in the front of her mouth. So, ethnic purist, I am not. So, we are Danse Orientale American style. That's all I can say. Yes?
Hi, Serena. I know from time to time you organize group trips to Cairo.
We
to
did.
explore the belly
We
dance
did.
scene.
And we will again because they were wonderfully fun trips. They were usually 12 days, 5 days in Cairo, and 5 days cruising along the Nile and stopping at various villages. Actually, there were 5 days of shopping. Our next dance breaks some of the barriers of Oriental dance. It's fusion. It combines New Age and African and rock and so many other elements. And this young lady just won an award in California for her fusion dance. Here now is Dorit. father was so proud of his contract at the Palace Theater. That was considered the epitome for a vaudeville performer to actually perform on the stage of the Palace Theater. He performed there with a group called the Seven Banjo Themes. My mother was more on the classical side with the opera. But as I was growing up, they revived a standard vaudeville act called Mr. Pachigaloop and the Census Taker. And they did it at various summer resort hotels, and I went along. And I remember some of the lines. It was my mother from Park Avenue, the census taker, going down to the Lower East Side and interviewing this pushcart peddler, and she said something like, "My good man, what is your name?" And he said, "Atone Pasquale Pachigaloop Giuseppe Garibaldi." That's my first name. "How many children do you have?" "A 9. 9 altogether?" "No, altogether, 1 at a time." And my parents had very strange friends. They had one friend who played the saw, Harriet. I remember her with this saw on her knee, and it had this eerie sound. They had another friend who had a deer in her home. The deer was called Star Messenger. My parents painted their ceiling blue with pink clouds. As a matter of fact, when I had my first date with Rip, and he came up to the house and looked up, I thought, I'll never see this guy again. But it didn't work out that way. My parents also had a female friend who was a Shakespearean actress by day and a stripper by night, but stripper then was a very different thing than today. They were quite fairly clothed even at the end of their show. And she said to my mother, "Why doesn't Serena become," Serene, that was my real name, "why doesn't Serena become an Oriental dancer?" They didn't use the word belly dance then. And so it was really her suggestion that put me on that road. But when I was 7 years old, my mother had the good sense to take me to study with a legend, Louis St. Denis. And I still have a book inscribed to me from her. At any rate, the idea of becoming a dancer was something that appealed to me, and it just happened very naturally, and it worked out very, very well. I'm going to present to you what might have been on a vaudeville stage in 1920. It's a dance to music called Palestine, and here is Amaya and Kini in Palestine. caused such a sensation in so many directions, it became known, the phrase, as Salomania. It wasn't so much her dance of the 7 veils that created a stir. It was the fact that she kissed the head of John the Baptist. This raised such a hue and cry against the opera. But it was a very, very sensual opera, and the music from Salome is considered to be the most difficult music a musician could ever play. The young lady that I worked with creating this Salome is born in Russia. She was born in Moscow. Her name is Julia. And she had the tremendous discipline of ballet as well as the Oriental dance in her background. So when I worked with her, my tendency is to adhere very much to the finer nuances and shadings in the music. And I would give her a suggestion, and she'd give me about 15 different moves to go with that suggestion. And it was a wonderful blend of her knowledge and her way of moving and my ideas of how the music should be interpreted. And now, here is Julia in, I should say one more thing, I hope you don't mind. For those of you who don't know the story, she was rebuffed by John. And she keeps looking at his image on the back wall. And she is so upset that when King Herod, which is represented by this throne, asks her to dance for him, she doesn't ask for jewels or gold. She asks for you know what. And here now is Salome. and then on with the rest of our show. Thank you. Blend of two wonderful cultures, the Spanish and the Orientalist. Here is a wonderful young lady named Blanca who was born in Mexico and is going to give you her version of Moorish improvisation. Blanca. called Sisters, which is a conversation between two women with their finger symbols. I've always felt that those symbols, or zills as they're sometimes called, had a tremendous range, and that people could actually communicate with each other with them. And when I presented that dance, I was very happy to say that it won the Ruth St. Denis Award for Creative Choreography in the Near East genre. Here now is Zenaida and Ayana in Sisters. days of Hollywood, the Arabian Nights fantasy movies, they called them sand and sandal movies, featured such glamorous movie stars as Rita Hayworth and Rhonda Fleming. Now, here's my tribute to those great 1940s Hollywood movies featuring Salome. all time was someone by the name of Big Mama Thornton. As a matter of fact, Janis Joplin has taken a lot of cues from Big Mama. One of the songs that Big Mama wrote, Ball and Chain, I felt showed enough emotion that it could go very well with a very special dancer's way of using a veil. And now, Doreen is that very special dancer with her own interpretation of Big Mama Thornton singing Ball and Chain.
Sitting by my window,
Whoa, oh yeah, oh for eternity. Ball and chain, turn me loose.
One of the greatest attributes of the belly dance is that it's fun. And part of this fun is the mix of self-expression and precise coordination. But you can't help but feel the joy of our dancers as they perform our version of the cane dance. strange places. Rip and I were walking along the boardwalk in Asbury Park when we were attracted by the music from the carousel. Above it was a small alcove with the animated figure of a belly dancer. The mechanism was old and rusty, and the dancer's costume was weathered, but she kept on dancing endlessly as the gears ground away and throngs of people paraded past her. I looked at her frozen smile and sad eyes and wondered how she would behave if she could step from that alcove and live, however briefly. Even today, as I imagine her, I can hear the music of the merry-go-round.
İstemem babacığım istemem. Aranali ahli, beni geldi. İstemem babacığım istemem.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Yes.
I want to know who does the choreography.
Who do you think? Thank you, Charles Dexter, for lighting our show and letting each dancer's aura be seen. And thank you, audience, for coming tonight. Thank you.